2015. 2 a.m. Vallejo, California. A home invasion. Intruders wearing wetsuits and night vision goggles. Bright lights. Voices. Aaron Quinn and his girlfriend Denise Huskins are in bed, suddenly drugged. Tip ti to. Han. Didam ti. Teram tish. Blindfolded. Aaron hears Denise being taken. Dragged from the bedroom. Put into a trunk. Driven away. He's left bound. Terrified. When he finally escapes the restraints hours later, he calls police. Reports a kidnapping. Describes the attack. The bizarre details. Wetsuits. 1. Shiwu. Night vision. Professional equipment. And then the ransom demand. $8,500. Sent via email. Instructions to wire the money, or Denise would be killed. Police arrive. They begin investigating, but something feels off to them. The ransom amount is too low, the details too strange. Wetsuits, night vision goggles. Aaron's story sounds like a movie. Too elaborate, too detailed. And when Denise reappears 48 hours later, 400 miles south in Huntington Beach, dropped off, unharmed. Police make a decision. They hold a press conference, and they call it a hoax. Compare Denise to Gone Girl, the book and film about a woman who fakes her own kidnapping. They say she and Aaron wasted resources, made it all up. The media runs with it. Real life Gone Girl. Denise becomes a national punchline. Mocked, bite, harassed, harassed, called a liar. But here's the truth. Denise Huskins was kidnapped. Every word she said was true. And the real kidnapper, a disbarred lawyer and former Marine named Matthew Muller, would eventually be caught, convicted, and sent to prison. This is the story of how a victim became a suspect, how police failed spectacularly, and how Denise fought to clear her name. Denise Huskins was 29 years old in March 2015, a physical therapist living in the Bay Area, dating Aaron Quinn, a physical therapist as well. They'd been together about 2 years. On March 22, 2015, they spent the evening together at Aaron's home in Vallejo, Mare Island neighborhood. A quiet, residential area. They went to bed. Around 2 a.m., their nightmare began. Bright lights flooded the bedroom. Denise woke to find figures standing over them, wearing black wetsuits, swim goggles, night vision equipment. Voices spoke through a speaker system. Robotic, altered. The intruders drugged them, forced them to drink a sedative, bound their hands with zip ties, placed blackout goggles over their eyes. The kidnappers told them this was a robbery, said they were targeting the house for valuables. But their actions suggested something more planned, more sinister. They separated Denise and Aaron, put Denise in a closet, interrogated Aaron, asked about bank accounts, passwords, ace, money. Deutschland. Aaron tried to cooperate, told them everything, the whole time, terrified for Denise, not knowing where she was, if she was safe. Hours passed. Then the kidnappers told Aaron they were taking Denise as collateral until he paid a ransom, $8,500, specific amount. They put Denise in a trunk. Aaron heard her being carried out, the sound of a car starting. Then, silence. Aaron remained bound for hours. Finally freed himself around 9 a.m. Immediately called 911. Reported the kidnapping. Described everything. The wetsuits, the goggles, the drugging, the ransom demand. Police arrived. But from the beginning, they were skeptical. The story seemed too bizarre, too detailed, too much like a movie plot. They questioned Aaron for hours at the police station. His attorney later said they treated him like a suspect, not a victim. They didn't believe him, thought he killed Denise, hid her body, made up this elaborate story. Meanwhile, Denise was actually being held captive in a location she couldn't identify, blindfolded the entire time, terrified she would be killed. Denise later described her ordeal. She was held in what seemed like a small room, possibly a storage unit or shed. The kidnapper kept her blindfolded, drugged periodically. He sexually assaulted her multiple times over 48 hours, recorded the assaults on a camera, told her this was proof of life, evidence for the ransom demand. He played mind games, told her Aaron hadn't paid, that he didn't care enough, tried to break her psychologically. Denise stayed calm, tried to survive, waited for rescue. On March 25th, 2 days after the kidnapping, the kidnapper drove her to Huntington Beach, Southern California. Dat Vigente, nice, Deutsch, dropped her off near her family's home, told her to wait. Then he left. Denise was free, but her nightmare was just beginning. No, when Denise was released, she immediately called her family, then called police. She was safe, alive, ready to help catch whoever did this. But instead of being welcomed as a survivor, Denise walked into chaos. Vallejo Police Department had already decided this was a hoax. Aaron was the prime suspect. Denise was his accomplice. And when she reappeared unharmed, it confirmed their theory. On March 25th, just hours after Denise's return, Vallejo Police held a press conference. Lieutenant Kenny Park spoke. He said the kidnapping was a wild goose chase. He said it was a hoax. He compared it to Gone Girl, the movie that had just come out about a woman faking her kidnapping. The media exploded. Real life, Gone Girl. Headlines everywhere. Cable news ran the story constantly. Pundits debated. Was it a publicity stunt? A desperate attempt for attention? Why would someone fake a kidnapping? The speculation was endless and cruel. Denise and Aaron became national targets. Social media mocked them, called them liars, attention seekers. Dimin Chai Tedder IOC currency. People dug into their personal lives, past relationships, financial records. Dis Igadi kept buying, looking for motive, for proof of deception. Denise's family was horrified. They knew she was telling the truth, but no one would listen. The police had spoken. Case closed. Hoax, Tito. But there were problems with the hoax theory. Big problems. The physical evidence didn't support it. There were signs of forced entry at Aaron's home. Zipties found at the scene. Chemical residue consistent with sedatives. And the ransom emails sent from an IP address traced to a specific location, not to Aaron or Denise. Why would they send themselves ransom demands? The FBI got involved, looked at the evidence. They didn't think it was a hoax. They thought it was real. A real kidnapping by someone sophisticated. But Vallejo police stuck to their story, doubled down, refused to admit they were wrong. Aaron and Denise hired attorneys, gave detailed statements, described everything that happened, offered to take polygraphs, to cooperate fully. But Vallejo PD wasn't interested. They'd made up their minds. Their case was closed. Resources that should have gone to finding the kidnapper went nowhere. Meanwhile, the real kidnapper, Matthew Muller, terror, was still out there, still free, still dangerous. and he would strike again, which is how police would finally learn that Denise Huskins had been telling the truth all along, that they had failed a victim, destroyed her reputation, and let a predator walk free. Matthew Daniel Muller, born 1977. Hartley grew up in California, attended Pomona College, then Harvard Law School. Brilliant academically. Became a Marine, served as an immigration attorney, taught legal classes, Kington phase. On paper, he was successful, accomplished, but something was deeply wrong. In 2008, he was disbarred. Accusations of misconduct, theft, lying to clients. His life unraveled. He became paranoid, delusional. Believed people were watching him, that government agencies were after him. He moved frequently, lived in his car sometimes, but he was also meticulous, planned everything. And he had skills, military training, legal knowledge, technical expertise, a dangerous combination. On June 5th, 2015, 3 months after the Huskins kidnapping, Muller attempted another home invasion in Dublin, California, about 30 miles from Vallejo. Similar modatoni, nighttime, not residential home. But this time, things went wrong. He broke into a house, but the homeowner woke up, saw him. He screamed. Muller fled, left evidence behind. A car in a driveway. Not his car. Stolen. Too. And inside that car, police found a treasure trove. A laptop, a cell phone, CDs, duct tape, port tape, a water pistol painted black, and most importantly, a video of a woman being sexually assaulted, blindfolded, in a room. That woman was Denise Huskins. Dublin police connected the dots immediately, called FBI, called Vallejo PD, by who told them, "We caught your guy." The hoax was real. Muller was arrested June 8th, charged with the Dublin attempted burglary. Then, as evidence was processed, additional charges: kidnapping, sexual assault. The Huskins case was reopened. FBI took the lead, and everything Denise said was confirmed. The wetsuits found in Muller's storage unit, the night vision goggles, the drugging. Muller had purchased sedatives. The emails traced to devices he owned. Every detail corroborated. Muller was the kidnapper. Denise was a victim. Vallejo police had been catastrophically wrong. Muller's background revealed more. He had scoped out Aaron's house, planned the attack for months, watched them, learned their routines. He had military training in surveillance, legal training in covering tracks. He was smart, organized, dangerous. And he had other victims. Investigators found evidence. Other women he'd targeted, assaulted, maybe kidnapped. The full extent of his crimes still being uncovered. But for Denise, the arrest was validation. She hadn't lied. She wasn't Gone Girl. She was a survivor who had been victimized twice. Once by Muller, once by police who refused to believe her. In 2017, Matthew Muller pleaded guilty to kidnapping Denise Huskins, to sexual assault, federal charges, facing life in prison. At sentencing, Denise spoke, gave a victim impact statement, described what he did to her. The terror, the assault, the trauma, and then what police did to her. How they called her a liar, made her a national punchline, destroyed her reputation. While letting him go free, Muller was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison. He'll die behind bars. But for Denise, the sentence was just one step. She still had to fight to clear her name, to hold police accountable, to rebuild her life. After Muller's conviction, Denise and Aaron sued the city of Vallejo. Civil rights violation, defamation. The police had called them liars publicly, had destroyed their reputations, without evidence, without investigation, based on good feelings. Now, based on good feelings and egos, the lawsuit detailed everything. The rush to judgment, the press conference calling it a hoax, the refusal to investigate properly, the damage to Denise's mental health, to both their careers, to their lives. The case went to settlement negotiations. In 2018, Vallejo agreed to pay $2.50 million, an admission, without admitting guilt, that they had failed spectacularly. But money wasn't enough. Denise wanted acknowledgement, an apology, accountability. Vallejo Police Department eventually apologized, said they were wrong, that they should have believed her, should have investigated properly. It was something, but many felt it was too little, too late. The officers who called her a liar, who held that press conference, faced no discipline, kept their jobs, continued as if nothing happened. The system that failed Denise remained largely unchanged. And that's the tragedy. Beyond this individual case, how many other victims are not believed, are blamed, because their stories seem unusual, don't fit expectations. How many predators go free because police decide? It's easier to blame the victim. Denise and Aaron stayed together, got married, had children, built a life. Despite everything, despite the trauma, the public humiliation, the betrayal by institutions meant to protect them, they showed incredible resilience. Denise became an advocate for victims, for changing how police handle sexual assault cases. She wrote a book with Aaron, Victim F, From Crime Victims to Suspects to Survivors, published in 2021, detailing their ordeal, the kidnapping, the accusations, the fight for justice, and the healing. Their story became a documentary, American Nightmare, Part C, released on Netflix in 2024, bringing their story to millions, showing the world what really happened. The case raised important questions about victim blaming, about police jumping to conclusions, about how we treat sexual assault survivors. Denise's story was unusual. The details were bizarre. Wetsuits, king eyes. Wetsuits, night vision goggles. Low ransom amount. But unusual doesn't mean fake. Crimes don't follow scripts. Real victims don't all act the same. Don't all fit stereotypes. And when we disbelieve victims because their stories seem strange, we enable predators. We create environments where reporting is dangerous, where survivors are punished for coming forward. That's what happened to Denise, and it happens to countless others every day. The Denise Huskins case is a textbook example of everything that can go wrong. In a criminal investigation, police made assumptions based on their expectations of how victims should act, how crimes should look. When the facts didn't fit, they didn't investigate further. They declared it a hoax. They held a press conference, destroyed a victim's credibility before completing their investigation, before collecting all evidence, before considering alternatives. It was ego, laziness, and bias, and it nearly destroyed an innocent woman, while letting a dangerous predator continue hunting. Experts in trauma and victimology point to this case when teaching what not to do. Victims of trauma don't all behave the same way. Some cry, some are stoic, some are emotional, some are calm, some remember everything, some have gaps. None of this indicates lying, but police often use these reactions to judge credibility, to decide who to believe. This is wrong, scientifically wrong, ethically wrong, and it leads to cases like Denise Huskins, where a survivor is treated as a suspect because she didn't match some officer's mental template of what a real victim looks like. The Gone Girl comparison was particularly damaging. The movie had just been released, was culturally omnipresent, and police invoked it to explain Denise's case. This was irresponsible. It planted a narrative that was hard to overcome. Even after Muller's arrest, some people still believed it was a hoax, that Denise and Aaron were involved, that the arrest was a cover-up. Conspiracy theories persist. When you publicly call someone a liar, it's hard to undo. Even with evidence, even with convictions, the stain remains. That's what Vallejo PD did to Denise Huskins, and they should never be allowed to forget it. Reform is needed in how police handle unusual cases, in how they treat victims, and in how they interact with media. Several specific changes could prevent future Denise Huskins cases. First, don't hold press conferences calling cases hoaxes before investigations are complete. Second, bring in outside experts for unusual crimes. Don't rely only on local department instincts. Active department instincts. Third, treat victims with respect. Doubt, even if their stories seem strange, even if you're skeptical. Fourth, focus on evidence, not narratives, not good feelings, not matching crimes to movies. Fifth, accountability. Officers who fail victims should face consequences, not just apologies, real consequences. Denise's advocacy work has made a difference. She's spoken at conferences, law enforcement trainings, universities, sharing her story, teaching about victim treatment, about the importance of believing survivors, about how trauma affects behavior, doubt, and memory, and credibility. She's influenced policy changes. In some jurisdictions, better victim services, better training for officers. It's not enough. It's never enough until it's universal, until every victim is believed, until every case is investigated properly. But it's progress, born from her pain, from her refusal to stay silent, to accept what happened to her. The legacy of this case should be a warning to law enforcement everywhere. You can be wrong, spectacularly wrong, and when you are, people suffer. Predators go free. Justice fails. The Vallejo Police Department was wrong about Denise Huskins. They called her a liar on national television. They compared her to a fictional character who faked a crime while she was actually a victim of kidnapping and sexual assault. by a dangerous predator who they should have been hunting instead of persecuting her. This failure should haunt them, should drive reform, should never, ever happen again. Today, Denise Huskins Quinn lives with her husband Aaron and their children. She's rebuilt her life, her career, her reputation. She's a survivor in every sense. She survived a kidnapping, a sexual assault, and a second victimization by institutions meant to protect her. She survived public humiliation, media mockery, being called the real-life Gone Girl. She survived, and she fought back, demanded justice, demanded accountability, demanded change. And she won. Not completely, but significantly. Matthew Muller is in prison. Vallejo paid a settlement. Her name is cleared. Her story is told. And millions now know she was telling the truth all along. This has been the story of Denise Huskins, the woman called Gone Girl, who was actually kidnapped and assaulted by Matthew Muller. A disbarred lawyer and former Marine who planned and executed a sophisticated kidnapping only to see his victim blamed for it by police who rushed to judgment. The story of a woman who lost her freedom, her safety, her reputation, and then fought to get them all back. The story of police failure, media complicity, and eventual justice. Delayed but delivered. This is why we believe victims, why we investigate thoroughly, why we don't compare real crimes to movies, why we hold institutions accountable when they fail. Denise Huskins was telling the truth. Matthew Muller is in prison. And Vallejo Police Department should never forget the day they called a kidnapping victim a liar and were proven catastrophically wrong.